Daeron I Targaryen's initial invasion of Dorne surprised all with its speed and the scale of his success. Even his most loyal supporters could not have foreseen how sound and unquestioned the success of this initial invasion was. The plan devised by King Daeron and Alan Velaryon, the Oakenfist, to attack from 3 different directions, with the aim of dividing Dorne in half, thus blocking supply lines and any hope of reinforcement, was a stroke of genius. Especially the bold move of sending the royal fleet up the Greenblood River, which proved to have a huge impact on the success of the invasion. Even without dragons, the main power behind House Targaryen since Aegon the Conqueror took Westeros 158 years before, King Daeron's invasion was perhaps the most effective and efficient, with some making the argument that the fact he did it all without dragons meant Daeron's invasion outclassed the first invasion of Aegon the Conqueror and any that followed him. As word of the success of Daeron's invasion spread from the sands of Dorne to the Wall in the far north, the mood of the lords and small folk alike turned from pessimism and doubt to begrudging support, with some formerly doubtful lords sending additional men to aid in Daeron's efforts. Every time House Targaryen had attempted to invade Dorne, it was always pushed back or undone very quickly, so much so that many in both Dorne and the rest of Westeros vowed an invasion may not physically be possible, owing to the harsh terrain and tactics used by the Dornish themselves, who used Dorne's harsh landscape to their advantage. The invasion even took House Martell by surprise, who had assumed that without dragons, House Targaryen would stand little or no chance in the sands of Dorne, let alone achieve the success they did in such a short amount of time. No one predicted or foresaw an attack, let alone at the scale and speed of King Daeron's. In many ways, the Dornish had no time to react or coordinate a proper counter-offensive. Within a year of the start of the conquest, the invaders were at the gates of Sunspear, the gleaming capital of Dorne. Before Daeron could capture Sunspear itself, he needed to battle his way through the so-called Shadow City. While the odds were very much in Daeron's favour at this point, sieges often give the defender an advantage when it comes to physical combat. It would be a hard-fought, bloody process, playing into the strengths of the Dornish hit-and-run guerrilla tactics that were the bane of many invader. The Dornish knew their city well, and knew how best to defend it, but inevitably, the Shadow City was taken, followed quickly by the fall of Sunspear itself, in a similar hard-fought process. By the year 158 AC, the Prince of Dorne himself, and 20 of the most powerful Dornish lords bent their knee to King Daeron at the submission of Sunspear. The young dragon had accomplished what Aegon the Conqueror never had, and no king since could achieve. The mass bending of the knee would leave a bitter taste in the mouth of many of the Dornish lords. As is the way with the Dornish, despite the submission of House Martell and the great lords, there were smaller factions that refused to surrender and would fight on regardless of the odds of success, to the bitter and bloody end. They would never surrender, no matter how good the terms presented by Daeron were, or how hopeless their situation looked. Most of these rebels remained away from the larger towns and settlements, and hid themselves in the desert, high in the almost impregnable mountain passes. Tactics that had famously worked during Aegon the Conqueror's first invasion of Dorne, and had allowed for the Dornish to defend their land ever since, were put into practice. These men were swiftly branded as outlaws by King Daeron, and they were not taken as a serious threat to the king's plans for Dorne. Ultimately, however, these outlawed men were small in number and very fragmented across the entirety of Dorne. Another pressing issue King Daeron faced, and one there was no quick fix for, was the discontent among the Dornish smallfolk at the prospect of their new Targaryen overlords. The invasion had been bloody, with many smallfolk left bereft and fearing for what their lives would look like under House Targaryen. Many saw the Targaryens as the old enemy, not just in the 158 years since Aegon the Conqueror, but much further back, to the days of old Valyria at its height of power and the destruction of the Rhoynar, whom many of the Dornish descended from, via Princess Nymeria and her 10,000 ships, who fled the dragon flame of the Dragon Lords, whom reduced the cities that trailed up and down the Rhoyne River to nothing but ash. There were some who feared the same fate would have awaited the Dornish, if not for the death of the last dragon. But regardless, King Daeron had captured Dorne in spectacular style. Now for many came the hard part, and the part that was the undoing of many Targaryen kings before him. keeping it.